The story of the Mexican-American War is a story of ambition, conflict, and the very meaning of manifest destiny. It is a story that begins not on a battlefield, but in the hearts and minds of a young nation eager to expand its reach across the North American continent. By the 1840s, the United States had its sights set firmly westward, towards the Pacific Ocean and the fertile lands that lay beyond. But there was a problem. These lands, including the coveted territories of Texas and California, were not theirs to claim. They belonged to Mexico. Texas, a vast territory sparsely populated by Mexicans, had become a point of contention, a land caught between two nations. American settlers, enticed by the promise of cheap land and new opportunities, had flooded into Texas in the early 19th century. These settlers, many of whom brought slaves with them, clashed with the Mexican government over issues of slavery, religion, and autonomy. In 1836, Texas declared its independence from Mexico, sparking a bloody revolution that culminated in the Battle of San Jacinto and the birth of the Republic of Texas. California, a land of breathtaking beauty and immense strategic importance, was another source of tension. The United States, recognizing its potential as a gateway to the Pacific and the riches of Asia, coveted California. American settlers, traders, and diplomats began to exert their influence in the region, much to the dismay of the Mexican government, which viewed these actions as encroachments upon its sovereignty. The annexation of Texas by the United States in 1845 proved to be the spark that ignited the powder keg. Mexico, outraged by what it considered an act of aggression, broke off diplomatic relations with the United States. The two nations, their armies massed along the Rio Grande, stood on the brink of war. The stage was set for a conflict that would redefine the map of North America and leave an enduring legacy on the relationship between the United States and Mexico. It was a conflict driven by a complex interplay of factors: territorial ambition, cultural clashes, economic interests, and the growing pains of a young nation eager to fulfill what it perceived as its manifest destiny. War, when it finally came, was swift and brutal. On May 8, 1846, American forces under the command of General Zachary Taylor clashed with Mexican troops led by General Mariano Arista at Palo Alto, near the mouth of the Rio Grande. The Battle of Palo Alto, the first major engagement of the Mexican-American War, was a resounding victory for the United States. American artillery, superior in both range and accuracy, decimated the Mexican ranks, forcing Arista to withdraw. The following day, the two armies met again at the Battle of Resaca de la Palma, a dense woodland that provided cover for the Mexican troops. The battle was fierce and bloody, fought at close quarters with muskets, bayonets, and artillery. Despite the difficult terrain and determined Mexican resistance, American forces, led by the courageous Captain Charles May, managed to capture the Mexican artillery, turning the tide of the battle. Arista's army, once again defeated, was forced to retreat across the Rio Grande, leaving the Americans in control of the disputed territory. These early victories, swift and decisive, fueled the fires of American expansionism. Newspapers across the country trumpeted the victories at Palo Alto and Resaca de la Palma, hailing the American soldiers as heroes and urging further action against Mexico. The United States Congress, caught up in the wave of patriotic fervor, declared war on Mexico on May 13, 1846. The Mexican-American War had begun in earnest. With the Rio Grande secured, American strategists turned their attention southward towards Mexico itself. General Winfield Scott, a veteran of the War of 1812 and a master strategist, devised a bold plan, an amphibious landing at Veracruz, followed by an advance inland to capture Mexico City, the heart of the Mexican nation. In March 1847, Scott's army, carried by a fleet of warships, landed near Veracruz, a heavily fortified port city guarding the approaches to Mexico City. The siege of Veracruz was a testament to American military might. For 3 weeks, American artillery bombarded the city, reducing its defenses to rubble. On March 29, 1847, Veracruz surrendered, opening the door for Scott's advance on Mexico City. The road to Mexico City was long and arduous, winding through rugged mountains and across scorching deserts. Scott's army, though victorious at Veracruz, faced a new set of challenges: disease, difficult terrain, and a determined enemy fighting on its home ground. Yet the Americans pressed on, their resolve fueled by a sense of destiny and the promise of victory.